Welcome back, everybody, to more Resident Evil. So we continue on this struggle with Chris Redfield.
Chris Redfield.
And we're going to see if we can continue on in the mansion now. Obviously, we missed a week because we didn't have any spare stuff to record. But I did want to address one particular situation that got brought up via comments to me. So, I know that we did say that we were going to skip a lot of this playthrough. And for the most part, we're still going to be doing aspects of that. But a lot of people have asked that we leave a majority of the footage in. Like, they want to see how we got to those points and all that. So, since I guess you could technically call this a speed run, I'm not going to call it that because it's not going to be speedy in any stretch. We're going to try and keep as much of it as we can in. But if there's going to be, like, bouncing back and forth to get errands done in areas that people know very, very well, we're not going to worry about putting that on camera. Does that sound like an acceptable compromise to both Alex as well as to the audience?
To be honest, not for me, because, well, if you want to see it, we have the Jill playthrough. So
yeah, and their argument is because rooms can be accessed differently via Chris. I'm not going to keep everything in. That's the thing. Like, if we're going to be doing errands back and forth, I'm not going to be keeping a lot of that in, guys. Just because we can make this playthrough a little bit shorter, and I don't see a reason why not to do that. Oh, hi. Robert. I was trying to think of a name because I wanted to go like with a crawly name, but no. Just go ahead and smash his head. Thank you. I was hoping to not do that, but then the herbs.
But then the herbs.
We already have 3 keys in our inventory, so...
You can at least pick up 1 herb.
So, fun fact, that's actually the room that you have to go into for the bonus costumes.
Oh, cool.
So I'm going to take the ink ribbon instead, just to take that back to the inventory. And even for this part, like if we have some errand running back and forth, I'm probably just going to tell Alex, shut the F up, and I'll speed this up later.
Just be grateful we're doing this post-commentary instead of playing it through, Alex.
Exactly. Because we're almost done with Resident Evil, Alex. And then, here's the thing. You don't have to deal with this until... And I'm not even sure I'm going to do it just yet until the remake. Because, again, the remake does make both endings canon. And you do get to see, like, updated models. But... And I do think some events are changed in the remake. But we're not going to be doing this unless people want it for 2. Because you can't technically have an alternate path in 2, but it's not canon. 3 doesn't really have one. Yeah, so it's going to be a while until that happens again. So I know that we're testing Alex's patience, but we'll make it work. Oh, hi, Bobby. Oh, wait. Robert. Eugene. Lazarus? Oh, that's going to be a DC reference. People are going to get mad. It's like, he's talking about the Lazarus Pit.
The Lazarus Pit.
Well, I could be talking about the Lazarus Pit. Okay, I'm going to put away the shield key and move over the ink ribbon to merge them. But the shield key really only has one purpose, unlocking Jan's room. So we don't necessarily need it just yet. And somebody was actually saying that Alex never gave his opinion on the save room music. I think you did, didn't you?
I thought I did. I'm always humming it when we're up to it, so...
Yeah, no,
it's a nice little jingle.
Here's the thing, is like, all of the save rooms all have really good music for them. Even the later stuff, like where the game is bad, the save music is still pretty good. In fact, fun fact, my favorite save music is actually Resident Evil 2. So that one, I'm going to be very interested to see what Alex actually thinks of it, because it's kind of a viewpoint of how things change later in the series, where it's not necessarily a song of safety, but more of a song of like, it still has that tension, but you know that if you hear this music, you're still fine.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of thing.
Adam was kind of disappointed when we were doing Resident Evil 7 that there wasn't really much music in the save room. And he was like,
It's there, but it's barely, you can barely hear it.
well, if you could.
I could barely hear it. And it was, I'm not saying the music itself was bad, because it wasn't. But the fact that you could barely hear it just didn't give you a sense of safety at all. And in that game, the game that pushed every single one of my horror buttons, yeah, I wanted that feeling of safety, and I didn't get it. Resident Evil 7 denied me what I wanted. So there you go. It's probably going to be a while before we get to 7, but I think this is going to be one of those things where you're going to think it's worth the wait now. Because all the games that came before it, you're going to be able to play those, and then we'll have to muscle through 2 games that are and then eventually we'll get to Resident Evil 7. The glorious return to survival horror. Oh, the other thing too that people wanted to ask about is like, has Alex played a survival horror game before?
No.
And maybe not known it.
I don't think so.
I don't, because you do the novels. The novels don't really count.
I haven't even done that many visual novels.
Have you done any kind of a game that required you to like conserve resources?
I can't really think of
I
any.
don't even think we've owned anything like that very much.
Oh, we own games like that. I mean, RTSs run off of that principle. Maybe. No, I was gonna say Freedom Planet, because in order to get some of the other puzzles done, you actually had to conserve your dash, but no.
Not really, no.
I can't think of a game that you would have played where you needed to conserve. Oh, well, I mean, RPGs.
Yeah,
The dot hack games.
RPGs.
Yeah, but they're not like survival horror.
But not like survival horrors. Just in terms of conserving like resources or money or items, then sure, any RPG or sim game that I've played. But in terms of horror, no, I've never really played many horror games.
Have you played a horror game in general?
I don't think so, actually.
Not even like a horror novel?
No.
Okay.
Surprisingly, right? No, I've never really played anything horror.
I was about to say Uncharted, but no, I don't think Uncharted counts. I mean, they
Yeah, but Alex
more
hasn't
action.
played it.
well, but he's been there
Yeah.
for it. But I mean, the other problem too is like the element that I would consider horror-ish comes very late in the game. So yeah, I think that would be more of an action adventure kind of game. So
Can you imagine Alex trying playing The Last of Us?
No.
I would have to play. I probably would have to play Tomb Raider and Uncharted first before I try to tackle The Last of Us myself.
The Last of Us is also very survival horror-y because of the fact that you can craft, but the crafting resources are limited. So that's the one thing that I would actually say defines survival horror as a genre, is that it's not just that it's a scary game. Survival is in it. You have resources to be able to use, but they are finite. And if you don't use them right, you will regret it later.
Are you shooting them in the head? Boom.
I really wish you could do a headshot. At least with the handgun, because unfortunately the only one that you can do is the shotgun. Wow, Huey, Dewey, and Louie are very happy to see me right now. And speaking of Huey, Dewey, and Louie, people have been asking what I thought about DuckTales. I haven't seen the premiere. I haven't seen it yet because it's on XD, and unfortunately we don't have it. So Louie, you're the last one leaving. Dang it, that's a bullet wasted. You know better. And I think that numeric key panel that we actually saw in this room, that's where you can get the bonus weapons.
Oh, nice.
I'm not 100% on that, but I think that's how that works. So you'll get a code, and then you'll be able to get the infinite rocket launcher or the infinite Colt Python. I'm trying to think, do you get anything else infinite? No, they just gave, in this game, they gave you the highest damage yielding weapons, but infinite ammo. So you could have faster speed runs. Because yes, this game is a game that gets speedrun. Pretty much every Resident Evil game gets speedrun, I think. At least all the classic ones. I'm not sure about 4, 5, or 6 if they get speedrun. That would be a question that I could probably answer. Actually, no, you've played a horror game.
Have I?
Because we played Five Nights.
Yeah.
So,
But on my own, I've never played one.
I find that funny because you were the one that was volunteering to play Five Nights, and I'm like, okay, well you got to pre-play. He's like, okay, I'll go get it. And you never got it.
I never did.
What the heck is wrong with you? That's how much he cares about you guys. He didn't actually want to do the work. Oh yay, and we can finally get rid of the sword key. So we don't need those anymore, but now we have the broken shotgun because we're gonna go and get the legit shotgun.
Yay.
Did somebody call shotgun? Yes, they did. Oh, and now we get to deal with the one thing that I find frustrating with just a handgun, the Cerberus. Because they are going to come out of nowhere in this room.
Right, they bust through the windows.
Yeah, like that. I mean, you can take them out, it just takes a lot of bullets for the handgun.
So why don't you just run past them?
Because they're kind of annoying to run past. They are technically faster than you. Boom. But also their hitbox sucks. There we go. So it took that many bullets to take down one Cerberus with the handgun. Shotgun, it still takes about 2 or 3, but I think that was a solid 10 bullets right there. Just wasted. Oh, and hype, Cerberus. And I just wasted a bullet.
Ow.
Okay, we're officially leaving the room. We are officially... There we go. People are probably going to go in the comments, I thought you knew when you were going on this one. I do. But it's actually been a while since I've actually done this particular part of the mansion. Where I'm at in our... When I'm pre-playing a lot of this stuff, I'm actually just barely finished with the third part of the mansion. Sorry, the revisited mansion with the hunters. So there you go.
Is that a plant in the corner?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't have the inventory. Not yet.
Oh, I was gonna say I'm like an herb.
I want the shotgun first. And I already am gonna have to deal with this stuff. So the bathtub is filled with muddy water. Will you unplug it?
Sure, why not?
You know what happened when we drained a tub, right? The last time?
What was that?
You remember the last time when we played something similar and we had to drain a tub? You know what happened after that?
What happened?
We got a good old visit from Jack.
What?
Jack. I have no idea what you're talking about now.
Remember in Resident Evil 7 when we drained it and then we had a good old visit from Jack.
Who is Jack?
Yes, we did. Jack is one of the enemies in Resident Evil 7. So, like, you've seen the commercials for 7, right?
I don't think I've seen a single commercial.
It's like a psychotic family.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, he's like the dad. And for a good portion of the first bit of the game, you're chased around by Jack. And there was actually a point where we drained a bathtub and got a plot crucial item. And all of a sudden, he came through the wall. He was like the Kool-Aid man. He was like, oh yeah! And of course, that made me pee my pants in a half.
Tell me he had an axe and he broke through that way.
Here's Johnny.
Did he have an axe?
No, well,
He didn't have a chainsaw yet.
It sounds so much like a Shining reference.
No, he had his. So there's like 2 weapons that Jack wields. One is a chainsaw because after Resident Evil 4, there's a certain fixation with chainsaws. So he has that. In fact, he is a very proficient master of chainsaws.
I thought he did have an axe at one point. Is either that or a shovel, one of the two.
Actually, no, that's the third weapon. He gets a shovel at one point, but he also gets like this big barbed wire club that he walks around, and that's the one he uses most of the time. So that's the one he came at us with it. But it doesn't matter that it's not an axe, man. He wallops you with it. So you're as good as dead anyway if you get hit by that thing. But no, he's a very proficient chainsaw fu master, and should therefore get the recognition that he very much deserves.
Say hello to my little friend.
My boomstick.
This is my boomstick! And yeah, I already wasted 3 bullets on this guy, and I don't even have any shells, I don't think, in my inventory. Not yet, anyway. Oh, and... clip. Yay. Seriously, this playthrough has been very frustrating for me, just trying to get the footage, because holy crap, you don't realize how limited in resources Chris actually is. We just barely found this, and I'm going to go ahead and spoil this for everybody now. I think I said earlier on that we were going to get the grenade launcher. Not for Chris. Jill gets the grenade launcher. Chris gets more shells. So, I mean, he gets another weapon, but it's craptastic. It's like a flamethrower or something. There we go. We saved our lives. And now we only have 1 shell left, so...
Well, you might as well compare the clip to the gun. Oh, can you?
I think we're hitting that, that
we
first time where I actually will need to go and empty out my pockets into the box.
Ah.
Now, this might be fine. Okay, unless I literally let him eat me. Boom. Okay, so this is just gonna be another 10 bullets. Yay! It was only 4. I feel so privileged right now, Alex. But hey, at least I get to take one of these herb combinations and take it back to the box with me.
Guess I'll take the green herb.
Will you take it, though? Will you? Yeah, we'll take the green herb. It would be in our best interest to take the green herb, so we might as well take it. And then another question that we actually did get was, after playing through, or seeing the Jill playthrough, Alex, does it actually motivate you to play this game on your own?
No.
No. I already knew that from the get-go. I knew that this was going to be one of those things where he would want somebody to play with him, or play for him, so he could just experience the story. That's why Let's Plays actually work really well for this.
You mean playing this game?
Or any survival horror. I think that's pretty much the answer for Alex.
I wouldn't rule out survival horrors in general, but not that I wouldn't want to play this particular Resident Evil.
They get worse.
Okay, then I probably won't play any Resident Evil.
That's the problem. Like,
No, Alex, when we get to 7, will you think back on which one, if you had to choose to play, which one would you do? After you see 7, you'll be like, maybe I'd rather try this one again instead of this one.
well, the cool part is that a majority of these games are now obtainable on PlayStation Network. So for those who have been asking, like, how are we playing this? We're actually playing it on my PS3 because you can get the, here's the cool part. You can get the original Resident Evil and Director's Cut on PlayStation Store. So whichever one you want, you can go that route. I went Director's Cut. I know a lot of people are mad that I did, but this is what I know, and this is the game that I love. So I didn't want to try and take on the original Resident Evil. I'm sure there's really nothing different, but I do like Director's Cut DualShock version. But, I mean, 2, you can get that way. You can get 3. Or, I mean, if you really want to go down this direction, I don't know how you would do it, but you can play 2 and 3 on GameCube. The original never made it because the remake went to the GameCube. You can get the remake, obviously. You can get Code Veronica and 4, 5, and 6. And even the Revelations games, which are episodic. You can get those, and they are eventually moving over to Nintendo Switch, so I'm actually very excited about that. Because they were originally 3DS games. So it'd be awesome to play those on the Switch. and see how well they play out. And then, of course, I think it was last video that we did, we were talking about the Resident Evil Online, for lack of a better term. I can't remember which one it was, but we were talking about the zombie elephants, and somebody did actually ask Alex, would you actually want to play that multiplayer with somebody? I don't think so. That's my guess, but, like...
Probably not. I
mean... It's pretty much playing Left 4 Dead, and I don't see you playing Left 4 Dead. Even though it's a Valve game, I do not see you playing Left 4 Dead. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't really see you playing Left 4 Dead.
Probably not. I mean, it depends on the game.
I mean, I thought about playing Evolve when that came out, but now everybody tells me don't play it, it's horribly broke, and all that, but I don't know. I still might want to try it. As you guys can see, we're doing a lot of backtracking right now because I want to make sure I get every stinking item I can get my hands on. Oh, Jiminy Christmas, so many items to grab. And you need it all. You need it all to survive, I can tell you that, guys, that much. I mean, I consider myself a meh Resident Evil player. I'm not as good as, like, my friends who can bust this out better than me, but I think I do a meh job, and this is still a pain in the butt. Mainly because of the 2 less inventory slots. Oh, that hurts so much. Just think about that, Alex. Playing this and having 2 less inventory slots. Just, you're always bouncing back and forth. You really are in the Chris playthrough, and now I can understand why some people do actually consider Chris to be the hard mode. And if you are truly a Resident Evil master, you will play through as Chris. Even though this never happened again. I'm happy to say that, at least to my recollection, Resident Evil 2, you have a male and a female character in that, and neither one of them got more or less inventory slots.
Oh, nice.
And in fact, you got more inventory slots in that game. So, yeah. And we're just making our way back to a save room to empty out our pockets with all the mixed herbs. Hi, Gertrude. I like this wall. It's amazing. But now that we have the shotgun, I'm not necessarily worried about wasting ammo, because all I have to do is pop! Goes the zombie.
What have I told you? Don't use the Z word.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry, George Romero Estate. Do you want to know what I'm not sorry for, though, Romero Estate? See this middle finger that you obviously can't see? Because we're recording this via audio? That's my viewpoints on you doing that. You should embrace the whole concept because you'd be freaking rich right now.
Yeah.
How many zombie stories, zombie games are out there now?
Especially right now, my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, we literally live in the generation of The Walking Dead. So, and I'm talking literally, like, we have Walking Dead games, we have a spin-off series that apparently is being sued, and yeah, there's lots of zombie stuff.
Lots and lots of zombie.
So many zombies, in fact, that I actually don't play the genre anymore.
We're all zombied out.
Yeah, we literally are. There's so many freaking zombies
There
everywhere.
really are. It's...
And the problem, too, is that they all try to tell the exact same story.
I'm surprised you didn't put the mixed herb in there, too.
The reason I would say Resident Evil is not that story is because they actually do try to have the whole umbrella aspect.
Yeah, it's...
They actually do try to have umbrella, there's a plot.
The sinister science has gone wrong scenario.
Yeah, whereas, like, Walking Dead and a couple of others try to tell from the survival scenario.
Yeah.
Of, like, who will live, who will die.
Yeah, because, like, Walking Dead is all, like, after a major pandemic and stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
What they're basically trying to do is they're trying to create the Omega Man. Is really what they're trying to do. You have this tiny little group of people. Will they survive? Will they actually work together? All that stuff. Which is that's the zombie story that annoys the crap out of me. Is because I don't care, because there's no character to get invested in. But I guess we'll have this conversation next time as we continue on in the mansion.